Hi there.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, Amber, right?
Yes,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm just getting all the Zoom stuff going. There we go. Yay, it's working. Well, I'm Danielle, and this is your Monday morning 9 a.m. begin class. But since you're the only one in class today, we can really make it whatever you want it to be. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to focus on or totally avoid?
Um, I kind of need to stay off my back right now. I am pregnant,
Mm,
but I can
gotcha.
find modifications for anything else. So I'm fine
Okay,
as long as I don't have to get on my back too much.
good deal. Is twisting a little bit rough on you at this point?
Yeah, I just modify the twists.
Okay, cool, cool. We can do some of that. See. I'm just gonna wait like one more minute on the off chance that somebody else pops in.
Okay.
So if my cat wanders through, don't mind him because sometimes he's perfectly chill and he'll just sleep the whole class. And other times he'll be like, oh, mom's on the floor. I need in on this. And
That's
he'll be a
exactly how
mess.
my cat is. No, I get it.
Okay. The other day, he just sort of like stopped on my yoga mat during class, looking at the window for like a minute. And I was like, okay, you should probably go sit in the window. He's a goofball though.
Yeah, cats have their own schedule. They just do what they want when they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yep. Looks like it's gonna be just us. So we're gonna start in a comfortable seated position. So whatever's most comfortable for you. I usually end up with my bum on a block, but if you wanted to prop up your hips or whatever system you've got, we're just gonna stay in a comfortable seated for a little bit. Oh, if you're gonna be that loud, you're gonna go out. And once you're in, seated, the way that you want to be, we're just going to start at the top of the head and work our way down, getting a little bit of movement in. So we'll start with some shoulder rolls, and you can roll your shoulders back, or you can roll them forward if you want. You can even do them one at a time, kind of rotate. And then once you've loosened up your shoulders, shrug your shoulders up to your ears really tight, kind of squeezing everything in, and then release. Let your shoulders just drop down naturally. And if that feels good, you can do it one more time. Shrug your shoulders up nice and tight, and then release. Let all the blood flow into the space between your neck and your shoulders. And then we're going to take a seated cat-cow. So we're just going to stay right where we are and tee out your arms to the sides. flex your hands so that your fingertips are pointing towards the back of the room. And we'll start to match the breath with the movement. So as you inhale, pull your shoulders back so that you're kind of squeezing the shoulder blades together. Lift your chest. You can lift your gaze a little bit. And as you exhale, round the spine and bring your hands together. Interlace your fingers as you inhale again. Reach those fingertips up overhead. And exhale back to a T. And we'll move through this 3 more times. Inhale, lift your gaze, lift your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale, round a little bit. Bring the hands together, interlace the fingers, flip them out. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms to a T. And you might be going a little faster or a little bit slower than me, depending on your breath. So move through at your own pace. And one more. Inhaling to cow, lifting your chest and the heart. Exhaling to cat with your arms together. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale. This time your arms can come all the way down to your sides. You can shake a little bit. And we'll take a little side stretch. So reach your fingertips down towards the mat, out at your sides. It's okay if they don't touch the mat. If they do, that's fine too. And sit up nice and tall. We're going to, actually before we do a side stretch, we'll get the side of our neck because that gets tense a lot. So reaching down through your fingertips, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And at the same time, drop your shoulders away from the ears. So your right ear is continually chasing your right shoulder, with that energy going down through your fingertips towards the mat is creating space in the left side of your neck. And keep breathing while you're here. With every exhale, maybe you sense those shoulders dropping a little bit more. Take one more breath before letting your head float back up to center. And then continuing to reach down through the fingertips towards the mat. Drop your left ear to your left shoulder this time. One more breath here. Bring your head back to center. And then loosen up the shoulders a little bit if you need to. Now we'll move into our bigger side stretch. So from here, bring your arms up overhead And we're going to reach over our right side. So your right hand comes down to the mat and your left hand reaches overhead. But see if you can rotate the shoulder back to open the chest. And if you feel like you're not, like if you feel like the right side of your rib cage is crunched down and you don't have space for your ribs to expand as you breathe in and your lungs come out of that side bend a little bit so that both side bodies are lengthened and you have all the room to breathe. I should say all the room to breathe that baby allows, because sometimes they don't. One more breath here. And on your next inhale, bring both arms up overhead before coming over to the left side. Your left hand comes down, right hand overhead. Draw the shoulder back so that you open the chest. Keep room in both sides of your body so that they're not getting too crunched. And on your next inhale, bring your arms back overhead. You can grab one wrist with the other hand and take a big old good morning stretch if you want to. Or get some yawns out. Before you release everything down. And usually I do like to take a little bit of a gentle twist here just to remind the spine of all the different directions it can move. But of course, it's up to you and your comfort level. This is just a baby twist where we're going to place the right hand directly behind you, kind of acting as a second spine so that you sit up nice and tall. And then bring your left hand to your right knee. And if this is feeling okay, and if you want to start to gaze over your right shoulder, you can do that. But listen to your body and find the sweet spot where it's just a gentle movement and you're not straining the muscles. I'll take 5 more breaths here. And then come back to center, slowly unwinding. And we'll take that little baby twist on the other side. This time, place your left hand behind you. Right hand comes to your left knee. Sit up nice and tall. And let that breath guide your twist. As you inhale, think about lengthening the spine. As you exhale, you might feel yourself drop into the twist a little bit. Two more breaths. And slowly rotate back to center. We're going to make our way into a tabletop position. So you can get there however it's easiest for you. I like to kind of roll over onto the side of my hip, get my legs out behind me, push weight into my hands, and then come up onto my knees from there. Once you're up in tabletop with your hips stacked over your knees and your shoulders stacked over your wrists, spread your fingers wide as you can, and press each individual finger into the mat. Sometimes our poor hands get ignored a little bit, even though they do so much work for us. And if it feels all right, you can start to gently hinge back and forth, forward and backward, kind of stretching out the wrists and the inside of the forearms a little bit. For some people, this can feel really good, especially if you do a lot of work on the computer. If it doesn't feel good though, don't do it because your wrists are a little bit fragile. So you want to be gentle on them. If this does feel really good, really juicy, and you want to intensify it a little bit, you can rotate your hands so that your fingertips are pointing outwards, and you can change that movement to side to side. And you can go as fast or as slow as feels good for you. And once you're done with that, feeling pretty good, we'll take a little bit of a counter stretch so that you are flipping your hands. So the back of your hand is going to be on the ground and your fingertips are pointing towards you. And then same thing, you can just gently hinge back towards your heels so that, bringing your weight back towards your heels so that you're stretching out the tops of the hands, the back of the wrist. Gently, gently. And then shake out the wrists a little bit. If you would like to, since we're already in a kneeling position, as you shift your weight back, you can tuck your toes and sit back on your heels for a little toe stretch. This is one of those that people either love it or hate it. But I think sometimes in the summertime, especially when I'm wearing a lot of flip-flops, it helps to stretch out the soles of my feet and my toes there. And when you've had enough of toe stretch, we'll come back into tabletop. And from tabletop, we're going to move into a kneeling crescent. So starting with your right foot, you're going to draw your right foot between your hands. If it doesn't reach, you can, you just want to make sure your knees for your ankle. And then you can bring hands to your right thigh and your torso up. And I usually keep my back toes tucked for some added stability. They can grip into the mat that way. And take a minute to square your hips to the front of the mat. So especially if that left hip wants to open up and pull back, see if you can pull it forward. And then reach your hands up overhead. Biceps by your ears. You can have your palms together or apart. Take a few breaths here. And you can take a little mini back bend if you want to. And bring both hands down on the inside of the front foot. We're going to take a little bit of a runner's lunge. So you can toe heel your foot up to the right corner of your mat. And you can stay right here. If you want to stay lifted, you can, I'm a big fan of props, so I always have blocks, but honestly, anything works. If you have like a stack of books or a couple of cans of food, you can always use that to rest your palms on. If you'd like to come a little bit lower, you can. You can bring your forearms down to the mat. But find the threshold where you're getting a good sensation. You know it's serving your body, but that you're not moving into the territory of causing injury. Sometimes chairs are good for this too. I have my bed right here, but sometimes having a chair in front of you to put your hands on, sometimes that can help. And we're going to start to shift out of runner's lunge. So if you are using props, you can scoot those aside, bring your hands back under your shoulders. As you start to shift your weight back, you can toe heel that front foot back to center. And if you like to get a little bit of a hamstring stretch in the front leg, you can start to walk your fingertips back, keep shifting weight backwards, and then flex your front foot. Blocks are good for this too. And some people like to stay and hang out here a little bit. You can do that. Or you can gently between the two if it feels. And then bend the front knee again. Bring your hands down to the mat, framing your front foot. And you can scoot that front foot back and bring it back into tabletop. And from tabletop, we'll do the other side. So this time, bring your left foot through between your hands, scoot it up there. Adjust your back knee if you need to. And then when you're ready, take one hand and then the other up to your thigh, lifting your torso. And square your hips to the front of the mat again. If that right hip wants to pull back. Once you've got your kneeling crescent set up, you can bring your arms up overhead, reaching tall up to the ceiling, bringing your biceps up by your ears. And take 2 big breaths here. And then bring both hands down to the inside of your front foot. Toe heel your front foot up to the left corner of your mat. Set up for runner's lunge on this side. And if you do need to pad up that back knee a little bit, of course, you can take time to do that. And then find your runner's lunge on this side. It might be this first stop right here. Might be using a chair, using a block, using what you've got. Or it might be coming down onto your forearms. And when you're ready to move out of your runner's lunge, move aside any props. Bring your hands under your shoulders and start to shift your weight back. Enough so that you can scoot that foot back center. And again, if you are so inclined, you can shift your weight back towards your right heel, straightening your left foot, flexing your left foot. You can hang out here, or you can slowly move between the two, bending and straightening the left leg. And then bend that left leg one more time. And scoot it back so you can come back to a tabletop. And in tabletop, take whatever movements feel good. If you want to hinge back and forth a little bit, if you want to snake side to side, you can do that. Child's pose may or may not feel good to you right now, but if it does, you can take a little child's pose for a moment. And you can also stay lifted in the hips. You can take a little puppy dog pose with your hips lifted and your arms extended, melting your heart downwards. And then bring your hands under your shoulders once again for tabletop. And we are going to come up to standing. If you've got a tried and true way to get to standing, go for it. Otherwise, you can bring your right foot up between your hands. Keep weight in your hands as you shift the weight forward until you can tuck your back toes, lift your knee, and then step that left foot up to meet the other one. Come up nice and slow. And then we're going to do a little bit of warrior series now that we're standing. So starting with the right foot forward and the left foot back. You can have your left foot parallel to the short edge of your mat or at a little bit of an angle. And then bend your right knee so that you can kind of sink your hips down. Find a stance where you can more or less evenly split your weight between the front and the back leg. That way you're not all into the lunge and nothing in your back foot. It's kind of like ease some weight into the back foot to share. Now, once you're feeling pretty stable here, you can spread your arms out with your right fingertips tracking over your right leg, your left fingertips pointing behind you. So that reach forward and tip over into extended side angle. So you're just tick-tocking your arms so that your left arm is up and your right arm is down, and that right arm can reach down along the inside of your front thigh, or you can rest that forearm on your thigh if you want. And then we're going to reverse the warrior. So on your next breath in, let that top arm pull you up and over. And this time your right arm comes up, and stay low in the lunge in the front leg. And then bring your arms down, straighten that front leg, and rotate your right foot in so that now you're facing the side wall. You should have both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat, legs spread wide. And then bring your heels in ever so slightly so that your feet are turned out like a ballet dancer. Bend your knees and we're going to come into goddess pose. So as you bend your knees, sink your hips. You can keep your hands on your hips, or you can bring your elbows into your rib cage with your palms up. Try to drop the shoulders down away from your ears and pull the ribs in slightly so that you're not arching your back than you need to. And breathe here. One more breath. And on your next breath in, straighten your legs, straighten your arms up to come into a 5-pointed star. And then we're going to rotate the other way. So you can either, if you want to stay facing the way that you started, just switching feet, then you can step your feet together. And this time just step the left foot forward and the right foot back. So right foot forward, left foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Or if you've already done as long as you have the opposite foot forward, you're good. And then bend your front knee. When you're ready, spread out your arms for warrior two. Sink into the hips a little bit there. And inhale, reach forward over your front leg, tip over for extended side angle. Reaching your left fingertips down, your right fingertips up. And keep breathing here. Just like in the first side stretch that we did at the beginning of class, if your ribs are feeling crunchy, lift up a little bit so that you have lots of room to fill your lungs. Take one more breath here, and then let the top arm pull you up and over. Reverse your warrior. Keep the front knee bent. And then release the hand down. Step both feet together and shake out what you need to shake out. I think you can do jelly legs if you want. And we're going to do a balance pose, but we're going to get really grounded first. Solid on our feet. So you probably want your feet hip width apart. Keep a little micro bend in your knee so that you're not locking your knees. And play with shifting your weight a little bit. You could try shifting your weight into your heels or forward into the balls of your feet. And sometimes it is nice to have furniture around, chair or bed or desk or wherever you're at. Even a wall for balance. But see if you can find that sweet spot right in the middle where you feel like you can send energy down through your feet, through all four corners of your feet, and you're nice and balanced. And you could even lift up your toes and press your toes into the mat. And now that you're firmly rooted through your feet, imagine that there's a cord connected to the crown of your head and it's gently drawing you upwards so that your spine is long and you don't feel heavy. Truly like a tree with your roots digging into the earth, but your branches and your crown float upwards. And from here, if you'd like to move into tree, we'll shift weight into the left foot, making sure it's still firmly rooted, still have a little bend in the knee. And when you're ready to pick up your right foot, you can set it at your left ankle, like a little kickstand. You can set it at your shin or up at your thigh, basically anywhere as long as it's not on your knee joint. And you can bring your hands to heart center. Or if you'd like to, you can grow your tree branches and bring your arms out to the sides or overhead. Or using a wall or a chair for support. And when you're ready, set that foot down. Maybe shake out your legs a little bit before you root down in the other leg. And you can keep this leg a lot bent. Like I say, a micro bend, but sometimes I've got my knee pretty bent so I can fluidly adjust to the changes in balance. So you can have a good, decent bend in that knee. Firmly rooted. Once you shift your weight into the right leg, you can lift your left foot, set it down at the ankle, shin, thigh. Hands can stay at heart center or grow. And for balance, you can always choose a point in front of you or down on the ground slightly in front of you, something that's not moving but that you can focus on. Bring your drishti to your gaze to help keep your balance. And if your hands aren't already there, you can bring them back to heart center. Set your left foot down and then shake it all out again. And we're going to make our way down onto the ground into seated once again. So whatever works best for you. And once you're seated, we're going to come into staff pose with both legs extended out in front, legs straight. And once you get to a point where you can sit up nice and tall, it's okay if your knees bend a little bit. In fact, if you want to put a little pillow or a rolled up towel or something up under those knees, you're more than welcome to. And flex your feet so that your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. And you can stay right here if you're feeling some good lengthening in the back of your legs. If you want to fold forward or reach forward, you can hinge from your hips, lead with your heart, and start to hinge forward. It might make it a little more active pose for you. And if you are hinged forward over your legs, start to lift your torso up. You can walk your fingertips back towards your hips to lift your torso. Move any props aside. Shake out your legs a little bit. You can even windshield wiper them back and forth. And we'll move into cobbler's pose. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let the bent knees fall out to the sides. This is another really good place if you want to prop up your knees. It can make this a very restorative pose. And again, you've got a couple of choices here. You can sit up nice and tall and pull the heels in towards your body. You can sit up nice and tall and chill here. Or if you'd like to hinge forward, you can lead with your heart, keeping your back as flat as possible. And when you can't go anymore, you can release your head and neck and relax into the pose. I don't have one of those giant yoga bolsters here, but if you have some kind of huge fluffy pillow or something that you can use, sometimes it's really nice to put that in front of you and rest your head on it or your chest so that you can fully rest on it. If you like to spend a little bit more time in this pose, you absolutely can. If you're ready to move out of it, we're going to move into our Shavasana, our resting pose. So, however that looks for you, it might be on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the ground, knees knocked together. It might be on your side. But take whatever last minute movement you want as you come out of your cobbler's pose. Nice and slow, you can use your hands to draw your knees together. And then work your way into your Shavasana. Traditional Shavasana is in corpse pose on your back, but you can really take whatever pose is restful to you. So that could be on your side. Could be in a constructive resting pose. But this Shavasana is such an important part of your yoga practice because this is your chance to let your yoga practice sink in and set in. But it's also a chance to tell your body thank you for all of the hard work that it does for you. And it's doing a lot of hard work right now. So once you reach your resting pose, let your eyelids feel heavy. And you can close your eyes if you want to. And start to scan the body from the top of your head down into your forehead. If you're tensing up the little muscles there, imagine them loosening up and relaxing. Soften your jaw and soften your throat. As you move your focus into your shoulders and your chest, if you notice areas of tension, imagine breathing into those areas. And when you exhale, that tension melts away and is absorbed by the earth. Your arms and legs can feel heavy. Your awareness goes down your arms, through your elbows, into your wrists and your fingers. And then back up your arms into your torso, along your back, and into your hips. Letting go of tension you might find there. and releasing anything that you don't need, that doesn't serve your body. And then move down into your legs, along your legs into your knees, down towards your ankles, and finally into your feet and your toes. And let your breath come naturally in and out, almost like the waves of an ocean washing up onto the beach and receding back out. Start to deepen your breathing. Feel your lungs fill, expand, and then contract again. And start to bring awareness into the rest of your body. Maybe starting with some small movements in the fingers and your toes. Then you can roll your wrists and your ankles in little circles if that feels good. And as you start to wake up the rest of the body, if you're not already on your side, you can gently roll over onto one side with your knees bent. And very slowly taking your time. If your eyes are closed, you can flutter them open to let some light in. And putting weight into your hands, push up through your hands to press yourself up to seated. Any comfortable, easy seated position for you. And once you reach seated, take one more big breath in and sigh it out big. Letting go of everything you don't want to carry with you through your day. And I wanted to thank you so much for doing a Monday morning yoga with me. Namaste.
Thank you. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. And let me know if there's anything that I can do to kind of tailor the class to you. I'm always open to suggestions.
Oh, you did great. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, have a wonderful Monday.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.